If Trump is really the big R word, how do you explain this?
I now want to bring forth a friend who has, he is deceptive in that his social style is of such. One can miss his seriousness, and his commitment for his success is beyond argument. When we opened this Wall Street project and we talked about it, he gave us space at 40 Wall Street, which was to make a statement about our having a presence there. Beyond that, in terms of reaching out and being inclusive, he's done that too. And created for many people a comfort zone when I ran for the presidency in 84 and 88.
Jesse Jackson.
And many others thought it was either laughable or something to avoid. He came to our business meeting here in New York because he has this sense of the curious and a will to risk to make things better. And so aside from all of his style and his pizzazz, he's a serious person who's an effective builder of building for the builder of people. Last year he was a part of our workshop, of our panel workshop on what are the challenges and opportunities. And so a year later, Donald Trump, for a few minutes, challenges and opportunities to embrace the underserved communities. Donald Trump.
All the credits we give money to HBCUs.
Well, it is an honor to be here, and I was with Jesse last year, and we had a lot of fun, and it was a little different. Jesse started off by saying, most of the wealth in this country is in the hands of a few. And I thought to myself, is that a bad thing? What's wrong with that, Jesse? But he did have an expression last year, and I was just telling Roger, he had an expression last year, the wall on wall must fall. And you haven't used it today, and I'm very disappointed in this, Jesse, because I thought it was a great expression. And I heard the expression about 14 times, and then he came to me at the end of the session, and he said, listen, I want some office space in your building on Wall Street.
Listen.
Because the wall on wall will fall. And I said, it's okay, Jesse, I'll make a good deal with you. I'll get you some space. You'll pay about $40 a foot. And he said, no, I don't want to pay 40. I said, how about 30? No. It was the cheapest deal I ever made in the history of 40 Wall Street. Is that right? He got it for nothing. He was a very tough negotiator. We know that, right? Nah, he's a terrific guy. We love him, and I'm here for him. And the snow came, and I said, gee, nobody's going to show up, and look at this place, it's packed. Well, I'll just say a few words. I mean, Wall Street and New York City and this whole region is doing unbelievably well. I'm building a job on the west side, which is the largest job ever approved by the New York City Planning Commission. You see it going up along the West Side Highway. It's almost 10 million square feet. It's 18 buildings, and it's really going to be something. I will tell you, a large percentage of the people, and especially in construction, that are building these great jobs are black and minorities, and I'm very proud of it. We have close to 25%, and I think the number's going up, and they do a great job. There are no better builders than we have in New York, and a big percentage of that is black and minority folks. So I just want to thank everybody in the room for being here. I look forward to some questions, and then I don't know how we're ever going to leave this building today, because if you look outside, it is terrible, but we'll figure a way. There's always a way, and thank you, Jesse, and congratulations.
You want to know something crazy?
This is the man they say is a white supremacist.
I ain't gonna lie. When he said at the end, somebody would say that was racist.
Yeah.
They would have took it as racist. That's racist.
But he wanted black people and minority people working on something.
That's racist.
He wanted to give black people jobs. That's racist.
People nitpick everything. People nitpick in today's society. They nitpick and pick and choose and move the goalposts and do whatever they can to make their argument on any scenario fit their narrative.
For sure. This sounded like Cartier family. Yeah, definitely sounded like. But yeah, man, he's a racist though. Really, man. Honestly, Trump was never really painted as a racist until he started to run for presidency. And it's a tactic really used by the Democrats and the left, simply because when He was a Democrat. Everybody was cool with him. But as soon as he ran as a Republican, yeah, that's when everything changed. And if he don't like black people so much, bro, he's horrible at showing it. Now, what really kind of pisses me off is not a single, well, I don't really know too many black people who he helped through the years have come forward to clarify that the left slandering and labeling him as a racist is completely wrong. I haven't heard Jesse Jackson come out and speak out against this, even though he had firsthand experience. Also, Al Sharpton, he loved him some Trump before he decided to run for the president.
And you know, last question I wanted to ask you, of course, is going to be about, there's a very popular slander against former President Trump, and that is the very famous argument that he is racist. You are a man of color. What is your reaction to that argument?
Well, I'm also old. I remember where President Trump backed Jesse Jackson when he ran for president. You would see pictures of Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, Muhammad Ali, Oprah Winfrey, all shaking hands, being friendly, smoking cigars together. Oprah Winfrey actually came out and said she wanted to be like Trump, until he came down the elevator or escalator and ran for president as a Republican. Magically, he became racist. We know he's not. There's stories about Trump, and I don't know how many people know this, but there was a homeless woman, American of African descent, living in Trump Tower. And somebody came and told him, and said, well, we've got this woman living here. What are we going to do with her? He said nothing. He let her stay there because so she could have a place to live. So those stories don't get out.
Right there, in that tall building is the Essex House on Central Park West, near 59th Street. I came in here about 9 years ago and snuck in the building and just started occupying one of the empty rooms in here. By the time our housekeeper noticed I was here the next day, she called the manager and they called the New York City police. Who came up here and told me I had to leave or I would be arrested. When I told them I would not go, they contacted Mr. Trump over the phone, and he came down here. Instead of him evicting me off the property, he said that I can stay. And it's been 8 years I've been here.
First of all, let me say this. When I watched that clip this time, I noticed that the words were not matching with her mouth. Which would, if that was my first time watching that clip, I would go, yeah, this seems fake. However, before I deleted all 2,000 of my YouTube videos, I actually had that particular clip on the channel and everything was synced up. So I just want to make sure that anybody who have any suspicions about that we actually address it. If you ask me, man, this is who Donald Trump really is. I have heard other people testify of Trump's kindness and generosity, and God bless him for that for sure. I love how he's continued to be somebody whom people can lean on and come to in times of need, especially as it related to that black woman who didn't have a home. Now, if I'm being honest, though, I thought about squatters' rights now that I'm thinking about all that thing that's happening with these immigrants and stuff like that. But even besides that, he didn't make no big drastic drama about it. He said, look, man, you fine. We're gonna make sure she good. In 8 years? Yeah. I don't got one black family member that'll let me stay in their house for a day for free. For real. And again, if y'all want me to re-upload that Judge Joe Brown speaking about Trump video, you know what? I definitely will. I'm gonna put re-upload next to it because that was my highest view video, almost 1 million views, and I had to delete it. Come to find out that I didn't have to after the fact. But anyhow, with all the people calling them racist, you think that, again, like the point I made earlier, you think somebody would say something about it. You know what I mean? Or you think that Jesse Jackson speak about the loans and a black businessman who he helped out and assisted with principal interest and one check when they went back to pay him and all that, how he told them to keep it, he don't even want it. Like, bro, these are things that nobody's talking about. And let's not forget what he did to help this black woman who was chained to her bed when she was giving birth to her baby.
When it comes to President Donald Trump, I want to say this because a lot of people accuse this man of being a racist. And I just want to say that I met President Donald Trump working on criminal justice reform. I too was one of the ones that said, no, I don't want to go talk to that man. I don't know him. He hates black people. Well, that's what they said. And so they said, well, Angela, he's working on criminal justice reform. You have a story. Many of you may or may not know that I served time in a Georgia state prison. And while I was serving time in that prison, I was pregnant. And when it was time for me to deliver my baby, I was transported to a hospital here in Georgia by a police officer, and I was chained to a bed, and I was forced to give birth to my baby with a sheriff watching for a nonviolent crime. Also separated from my family for a nonviolent crime. But you know, the Democrats said we only supposed to fight for the family separation at the border. They forgot all about the family separation in the border.
Right.
They want Trump to apologize for the CP5, but they ain't demanded that Joe Biden apologize for the 94 crime bill. But that's something else.
And as far as the Central Park 5 goes, honestly, bro, the one thing that I was only disappointed in Trump about was years later when it was brought up to him after he had all the facts, that was asking him to pretty much speak on it and maybe apologize, and he chose to not do so. However, in that time period, in that era, he didn't, just like anybody else in that period, they didn't know that these boys were innocent at that point. Now, what happened to them was very unfortunate. I'm not sitting here saying that it was, you know, they deserve that at all.
I had a story. They told me that this man was a racist, but I had a story, and I knew that if I could use my story to convince this man that there was to reform our criminal justice system, then I would do that. I wasn't going to be worried about emotions. I wasn't going to be worried about the media. I wasn't going to worry about the naysayers. I was going to go in with my story and see if I could make a difference. I found myself sitting in front of President Trump in the Oval Office, and I shared my story. This is the man that they told me was a racist. I don't know. I'm scared to death. Is he going to hang me? I don't know. Is he going to call the KKK the way that the media has portrayed it? I'm in a danger zone. Just so happened that he heard my story. Not only did he pass the First Step Act, but he also made it illegal for them to chain women to the bed during their childbirth.
But yet, he's racist. Make it make sense.